Grubhub filing for an IPO today. The company is seeking to raise $100 million in an initial public offering. They want to list themselves appropriately as GRUB, Grub, on the NYSE. In an official filing, it said it made $1.3 billion in food sales in 2013, or a 67% increase in revenue from the year prior. The average number of orders per day, about 100,000, or excuse me, the total orders last year, 100,000. That's impressive.
We were some of them.
We were certainly some of them.
We accounted for a good amount of them.
Particularly since they bought Seamless in August. I mean, I'd certainly order from Seamless many times a week.
But we are talking about a relatively small IPO, right? I mean, you do have that $100 million sort of placeholder filing, but you're talking about revenues of $137 million last year, as you said. So it's not, you know, it's not a huge one, but it is an interesting one. And if the Lightspeed vice president we spoke to earlier was right, you know, a lot of these tech firms trying to strike when the iron is hot and when the valuations are high.
Let me just mention that to Jonathan. So we were talking to a venture capitalist earlier from Lightspeed, and he said when we asked him about WhatsApp that the valuation was basically insane and that we are in or quite near a bubble on tech stocks. When you see Grubhub,
$19 billion,
you know, it's not really a tech stock, but online food delivery anyway. It's kind of a tech stock.
It's not like anybody else could get into this business to come up with a website that would help you get food and.
Feels like 99?
No, not quite. But we don't. You know, the peak in 2000, you actually had investors, perfectly sane investors, selling good companies in order to buy really horrible companies with massive valuations, and you had the Dow going like this and the Nasdaq going straight up. So it's not quite there, but there are, you know. It's reminiscent in some ways. There are pockets of bubbles, and I think they're very big pockets of bubbles. And the most common expression you hear about the whole WhatsApp thing, the $19 billion company, is, I don't understand this. I don't know anybody aside from Mark Zuckerberg who purports to understand it. I mean, this just looks, you know, remember JDS Uniphase?
Yeah, I know. I don't understand it either. I mean, basically, you know, they have that sort of already, right? The Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, they both seem like technologies that could. I'm not a tech expert, but that could very easily be, you know, leapfrogged over.
If I'm just putting myself in the shoes of the people at WhatsApp, however few there are, they've got to be thinking, okay, your stock is incredibly overvalued, so I want 5 times more of it.
Yeah, great.
Than you otherwise might pay.
Hey, as long as I'm selling, I'm happy.
Yeah.
As long as I'm selling. Okay, something that's not overvalued these days, perhaps, Metropolitan Opera tickets. It's proposing cutting compensation for union workers, and this would actually be the first for the opera, attempting to trim its budget and rebuild its endowment, which has been struggling as of late. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, the move comes after the opera's board said donors weren't willing to cover the constant cost of declining ticket sales. I got to tell you, I love going to the opera because I feel so darn young. I'm like, I am the only person here under 80. I love it. It's not only discussing a cut in pay for union workers, it's talking about limiting show production. Now, this is a big deal because they come out with 7 shows a year. And we're not just talking any little show, like a Broadway show. We're talking about a super-duper production. Like in Aida, there's actual horses on stage. I mean, they go all out in opera.
It costs a lot of money.
So it does cost a lot of money. So
this is one of the issues the union's raising, right? You're spending more on the horses and on the silk flowers for the sets than you are on the pay for the folks. This is just reading up on this is what some of the this looks like a standard union battle that you have when.
Do you need unions in the arts? Do you need
absolutely.
a union for chorus members? The actual singers.
They have one, so I guess they need one.
So if you're singing a lead soprano or lead tenor role, or if you're the conductor, you're not part of a union.
There are a couple things reading up on this that surprised me.
And you actually make a lot more.
Well, the male chorus member, the average pay is like $200,000.
Yeah, it's not bad, right?
It's pretty good for a male chorus member.
And you only have to work at night. I mean, a few rehearsals along the way.
A couple hundred shows a year, but I mean, it's not, you know, huge pay every single show.
Mattel has agreed to buy Mega Brands for $460 million. The world's largest toy maker acquired its biggest challenger to Legos. That's Mega Brands makes Mega Blocks, if you don't know. Mattel offered $16 a share. It's a 36% premium over yesterday's closing price. And this really fills a product void for Mattel because it didn't have its own construction line. Mattel's coming off a lackluster holiday season, as we know. Sales sank about 6.3%, the biggest quarterly drop since 2009. And the last acquisition was Thomas the Tank in 2012. Before that, Fisher-Price back in 1993. And interestingly, Mattel's female business has actually been stronger. That was the bright spot in its numbers.
Except Barbie.
Well, and Barbie got a bump off of that.
Off the hashtag unapologetic, but that didn't make it into those results.
So it's trying to, sort of solidify its boy offerings.
I gotta say though, here's the thing, like. What are they called? Mega
Exactly. What are they called?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it does not pay to be second, right? I said, now I got 3 kids. If there's anyone that should actually know what Mega Blocks are, it's me.
Well, I have 2 kids, and I know what Mega Blocks are.
Because
my
we
kids
use
love the
Legos.
Lego movie. They're not going to go see
We
Lego
use
Blocks.
Legos.
But Julie has boys, and your daughters are basically.
That's well. I have a
Your
little
son is a
guy,
baby.
but he's
This would be like if, to say it's the second biggest competitor, it'd be kind of like saying that, comparing knee-high to Coke.
Exactly,
This is not really, this is a company whose stock was over $500 a share back in 2005, and now it's selling for about $17 a share. And it's a pretty decent-sized multiple, like 27 times earnings. But
it's no Lego, right?
But this is no Lego. This is not even close to Lego. If Lego was a block that was
We're
big,
still
this
doing more than
big,
$400
they'd be a block that's
million
this
in
big.
sales. I mean, it's not nothing. Somebody's buying this stuff.
Play with
but
either?
the brand
Your sons play with
is
either?
not a.
Lego's not
they play
trembling
with
over
both.
it.
Megabot? Really? Okay.
No, Lego's not trembling, but that's not the point. The point is Mattel is trying to get some piece of this.
And they decided to buy instead of build it for
the point
themselves.
also,
No pun intended.
I think that Mattel will have its work cut out for them in terms of launching some serious competition against Lego. Because Lego, you got to admit, I mean, they got a movie about Lego.
Mega Blocks Land.
Right, nobody's going to Mega
Land.
Blocks Land, except maybe Julie's kids, sorry.
Lego sales are up fourfold in the last 9 years. Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
Our colleague David spoke to them in Copenhagen. All right, I'm moving on to SeaWorld. Speaking of things that children like, under attack, under fire after the release of that documentary Blackfish. But now they are striking back. They've said that one of the federal workplace inspectors allegedly leaked confidential information to Blackfish documentary producers. So SeaWorld asked the Labor Department Inspector General to investigate the officer. The documentary has become, of course, a rallying point for those against using whales and other wildlife for entertainment today, including Willie Nelson. Today, though, in an unrelated incident, a dolphin apparently bit a girl at a SeaWorld in Texas. So looks like the PR problem is continuing. But this is actually really interesting. So this inspector, she was from the Occupational Safety and Health Commission, otherwise known as OSHA. She was a compliance officer. And apparently, though, she turned up on the red carpet with the cast and crew of Blackfish at a lot of film festivals. Her stay was apparently paid for at Sundance. She was posting, strong reviews of the movie on Facebook, on social media websites, saying things like, wow, take that, SeaWorld.
Yeah, I mean, the director sort of defended it and said, well, all of that was after the fact, after the movie was made, but it does look a little bit incriminating.
It looks pretty biased if you're on the red carpet for a documentary that slams a company that you were supposed to be investigating, right?
Okay, so you don't know Mega Blocks, so your kids go to SeaWorld?
We go to the Miami Aquarium when I'm down visiting my parents in Florida. So I've actually never been to SeaWorld, but this thing, it has. We have to remember here. There's an employee at SeaWorld who died, and there was an OSHA investigation. And the fundamental story here is that there was an employee of SeaWorld who died.
Whether it leaked or not, that did happen.
That happened, and that's the real story that happened here. And I don't know what the woman at OSHA did, or whether it was, this is obviously not bright for somebody investigating a company to go out and say, hey, take that,
right.
SeaWorld. But at the same time, if I'm SeaWorld and I'm now a public company, I'm hiring lawyers, I'm hiring private investigators, I'm hiring anybody who can dig up anything about anyone who's going to be attacking my brand, and then trying to smear that person regardless of the consequences. Because all they care about is promoting their own brand and protecting their own brand, and we just have to keep that in context every single time a piece of information is dug out by this company about her.
Think about the source of the information.